Good morning, dear student. Today I shall continue the same chapter, Homesickness by Roald Dahl. This is the sixth paragraph. I shall explain 2-3 things related to the previous paragraph that will help you to make a connection with the present paragraph. When the writer was 9, when Dahl was 9, he was sent to a boarding school which was called St. Peter's. When he got admission there, he was homesick. So one day, he decided that he pretends before his matron, pretends before the school authority, and the school authority will call his parents and he will be sent back to home. The next day, we were allowed to inspect the appendix. In the previous paragraph, you studied that the operation, one of his sisters was being operated in the nursery. So the writer had the first-hand experience standing outside of the nursery and waiting and imagining how the operation was going on. So the next day, we were allowed to inspect the appendix itself in a glass bottle. The appendix was kept in a glass bottle. So the next day, the children were allowed to go inside and see the appendix that was kept in a glass bottle. It was a longish, black, wormy looking thing. The appendix was kept in a glass bottle that was long, black and wormy looking. It was looking like a worm. And I said, do I have one of those inside me, Nanny? Means the writer asked some questions with Nanny. It was due to his curiosity. After the operation, Dahl had an opportunity to observe the symptoms clearly. That's why, to make his concept clear, he started asking questions to Nanny. And this is one of the questions. Do I have one of those inside me, Nanny? Nanny answered, everybody has one. Means here, the writer paints an entertaining picture of that event. In this paragraph, you will find they were all allowed to see the appendix, which was kept in a glass bottle, and after seeing the appendix which was kept in a glass bottle, which was long, black and wormy looking, the boy asked the curious questions about it to his Nanny. And the question, do I have one of those inside me? This is one of the questions which was asked by the writer to Nanny. Nanny answered, everybody has one. I asked her. Again the writer asked, What is it for? What is it for? She said, God works in his mysterious way. Which was her stock reply whenever she did not know the answer. When Nanny did not know the answer, she gave stock reply, means she gave typical reply to the children. God works in a mysterious way. God works in his mysterious way. This was her answer to satisfy the boy. I asked her, what makes it go bad? What makes it go bad? She answered, toothbrush bristles. Bristles, a short thick hair in the brush. She answered this time with no hesitation at all. Without any hesitation, she replied, it is due to toothbrush bristles, toothbrush short thick hair. I cried, the writer cried, toothbrush bristles? It is due to toothbrush bristles. How can toothbrush bristles make your appendix go bad? How is it possible that due to the toothbrush bristles, due to the short thick hair of the toothbrush, this problem will be created? Nanny, who in my eyes was filled with more wisdom than Solomon, replied. Who in my eyes was filled with more wisdom than Solomon. Solomon, the great king of Hebrew, he was very wise. And when the boy was asking question after question to Nanny, he thought that Nanny is one of the intelligent nurses. Nanny, who in my eyes was filled with more wisdom than Solomon, replied, whenever a bristle comes out of your toothbrush, you swallow it. Nanny said that the loose toothbrush bristles, when you swallowed, could stick in the appendix and it made it go bad, thus installing in him a fear of loose toothbrush bristles. Whenever a bristle comes out of your toothbrush and you swallow it, it sticks in your appendix and turns it rotten. It sticks in your appendix and after some time it started rotting, and then you will experience pain in the lower part of your stomach on the right hand side. This is called appendix. In the war she went on. In the war, the German spies used to secretly send box loads of loose bristled toothbrushes into our shops, and millions of our soldiers got appendicitis. Nanny was explaining that in the war, the German spies used to secretly send box loads of loose bristled toothbrushes into our shops, and millions of our soldiers got appendicitis. I cried, the writer cried. Honestly, Nanny, you are telling me the truth. Is that honestly true? She answered, I never lie to you, child. It is not my habit to tell a lie to the children. That's why I am not telling a lie to you. I am telling you the fact. I never lie to you, child, she answered. So let that be a lesson to you never to use an old toothbrush. So keep in your mind, make it a point not to use old toothbrush in your life. If you will use old toothbrush, then the problem which I mentioned here, you will also suffer from the same problem. So stop using old toothbrush. For years after that, I used to get nervous whenever I found a toothbrush bristles on my tongue. For years after that, after hearing the words of Nancy, whenever the writer used old toothbrush and the bristles means long thick hair of toothbrush was found on his tongue, he became very nervous. He used to get nervous whenever the writer found a toothbrush bristles on his tongue. As I went upstairs, knocked on the brown door after breakfast, I did not even feel frightened of the matron. As I went upstairs, as the writer went upstairs and knocked on the brown door after breakfast, he knocked at the brown door. I did not even feel frightened of the matron. He was not afraid of the matron. Matron, a woman who is in charge of the living and medical arrangements of the children at boarding school. The writer did not feel frightened of the matron. So he went up the stairs and started knocking at the door because he wanted to say something to matron. He wanted to have conversation with matron. Come in, boomed the voice. Boomed the voice means a loud voice was made, and it was the order through that loud voice, don't knock at the door, come in. I entered the room, clutching my stomach on the right hand side. The writer entered the room, keeping the right hand side of his stomach tightly. He presented himself before the matron, in front of the matron. I entered the room, clutching my stomach, holding something. Clutching means holding something tightly. He was holding his stomach tightly and entered the room and presented himself like a patient before the matron. I entered the room, clutching my stomach on the right hand side and staggering pathetically, means walking with difficulty as if he was going to fall. He was staggering. He pretended that he had a severe stomach ache, and if you do not take care at this time, I will fall down. I entered the room, clutching my stomach on the right hand side. The writer kept hold of his stomach on the right hand side, lower part of his stomach on the right hand side, and was walking in a staggering way as if he will fall down. What is the matter with you? The matron shouted. The matron shouted, what has happened to you? Before some time, you were very good. All of a sudden, what has happened to you? Why are you walking in such a manner? What is the matter with you? The matron shouted. It hurts, matron. I moaned, make a low sound, or spoke in such a way that expressed pain and suffering. Pain and suffering was coming through his mouth, and his face was also expressing the pain and suffering. he presented himself like a appendicitis patient before the matron only to get leave from the school. It hurts, matron. I moaned. I experience pain in my stomach, the writer says. The writer says, I experience pain in the right hand side lower part of my stomach. Oh, it hurts so much just here. Oh, it hurts so much just here. You have been overeating, she snapped. It is due to your overeating and nothing else. The matron said, it is due to your overeating and nothing else. What do you expect if you gobble cake all day long? If you swallowed cake throughout the day, what will happen to your stomach? You will get the same pain. You will get the same kind of stomach ache if you will gobble cake throughout the day without thinking. It is due to your overeating and nothing else. I have not eaten a thing for days, I lied. He groaned and yelled. He groaned and yelled and lied also. And lied also about being sick. His act is so convincing that the matron calls in the school doctor. The writer presented him in such a good way. His behavior shows that the writer was a born actor. His behavior shows that the writer was a born actor, and he presented himself before the matron in such a way that all of a sudden the matron called the school doctor inside the campus. He presented his stomach in such a convincing manner before the matron. I have not eaten a thing for days. I lied. I could not eat, matron. I simply could not. Get on the bed, she ordered. She ordered. Get on the bed. The doctor is coming. The doctor will check you, and then I shall decide what I have to do for you. I lay on the bed and she began prodding my tummy. The writer laid on the bed and the writer lay on the bed and the matron began to prodding, poking and pushing with a pointed object, where the writer complained that I had experienced pain here in the lower part of my stomach on the right hand side. There she started pushing with a pointed thing. She began prodding my tummy with her fingers. She started pushing like this. I was watching her carefully. The writer was watching the matron very carefully. And when she hit what I guessed was the appendix place. I let out a cry that rattled the window panes. Oh, I cried. Don't, matron. Means when she was checking the stomach, he started crying. In reality, there was no pain in his stomach. But only to get leave from the school, and to make it clear to the matron, he was behaving in such a way. Don't, matron, don't. Then I sleep in the climber. I have been sick all morning, I moaned. And now there is nothing left to be sick with, but I still feel sick. He explained to the matron that still he is experiencing sickness. This was the right move. I saw her hesitate. The writer thought that this is the right thing, means everything is going to happen according to his plan. I saw her hesitate. The writer saw the matron hesitates. Stay where you are. She said, stay where you are. She said, and walked quickly from the room. Saying these words, she went out of the room. She had a nurse training, and she did not want a ruptured appendix on her hand. She had a nurse training, means the matron had a nurse training, but she did not want a ruptured, means broken or burst appendix on her hand. Within an hour, the doctor arrived and she went through the same prodding and poking. When the doctor arrived, the doctor also started examining the writer's stomach in the same way as the matron, the nurse, was examining. And I did not yelping at what I thought were the proper times. But when he put a thermometer in my mouth, but when the matron put a thermometer in his mouth, the writer's mouth, he said, hum. It reads normal, let me feel your stomach once more. Means the doctor found that the temperature of his body is normal and nothing is wrong with the boy. Ouch, I screamed. Hearing these words, the writer yelled ouch when he touched the vital spot, when he touched the spot where he complained.